I can't tell you how many people I have talked to or have gotten pre-approved or talked to a lender or whatever, and they immediately don't buy a home after. It's like, what? So they go back to the realtor and they say, oh, hey, I talked to the lender. Rate's too high. I don't want to buy right now. If I was that realtor, I would be pissed.
Your background, you played football,
Mhm.
right? You played
Yeah.
college football. It's funny that you say you get nervous in front of a camera because you've played in stadiums with like 30,
Dude,
40,000
that
people.
stuff's totally different.
Well, we're recording, so
Okay.
yeah, no, we're starting. So yeah, this is, like I said, for just my channel.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be asking. It's just typical interview,
Yeah.
banter, and just
I'm-
asking you questions, all that kind of
Hey,
stuff.
I like it too. I'm trying to do my YouTube channel. The only
Yeah.
thing I have up there is the interview of me and Dylan.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's it.
that was a good interview too. Though.
I need to get with I can't remember her name, that she emails me every once in a while. Your assistant?
Grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
I need to get with her because she's kind of offered to kind of help me set it up. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I need to introduce you to Jake too. Have you met Jake? My social
yes,
media
I did
strategist in house. Oh yeah,
I did meet him once, I think.
He was
when
here for
Connor,
the event, and he was
yeah,
here for the event.
yeah.
He can help you.
Okay,
a
cool.
ton.
Cool.
Because he knows it all.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about.
Then
YouTube.
we should set up time for y'all to talk and
Okay,
him to talk
cool.
with you. That he'll kind of like nerd out with you on just like, here's all the algorithm and all the stuff that you need to do. But it's
Okay.
good to know.
Yeah.
Because then you understand like what it takes to
Right.
kind of throw content out there and all that stuff. But yeah, I wanted to sit down with you because you know, you and I have been working together now for quite some time. I've seen how much you've.
Has it been a year?
It's been almost a year. It's been
Almost
probably
a
like
year.
9 months, 8 months.
Okay,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's awesome. And you know, I've seen how much you've grown on social media. I've seen how much you've grown on camera presence. I've seen how much you've grown in confidence in those areas.
Yeah.
And I would just like to know, you know, how has that affected other aspects of your business? You know, I don't know if you can directly say, oh, well, like this reel got me like this loan specifically.
Yeah.
And I don't think it works that way.
No,
But-
I wouldn't say it works that way. I mean, there of course there's great opportunity. I
cases
think if
that-
you
yeah.
look at the video we did with the $25,000,
Mhm.
that one had like I think 17 shares, and I haven't had that. I mean, I've gotten like 2 or 3 shares before, but 17 shares. You know, it only got I say only, but you know, it got 3,000 views,
Yep.
which you know to me that's a lot. But the 17 shares was like, damn, that's cool. Like I know people are sharing it.
And that means that, you know, you're opening yourself up to 17 people's entire networks.
Right. Like I
Just
know,
like that.
yeah, there are 17 people who just, and it's probably realtors, right? So directly or indirectly. I've gotten a couple DMs from realtors. I've probably gotten about, just in the past, you know, 30, 45 days, I've probably gotten 2 or 3 realtors like DM me, and it's kind of opened the opportunity for me to have, not necessarily a cold call, but like a warm call with them a little
Yep.
bit to
Yep.
strategize.
Awesome.
So,
Well,
and
that's
then
good to know.
I was going to say beyond that too, you asked just kind of how it's helped build business in general. It's actually helped a lot, you know, with speaking. So I know people who are really good at public speaking, but you put them in front of a camera and they suck.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I first started, like I do still like everyone, I feel like everyone gets nervous public speaking, but I would get, you know, I still get a little anxious in public speaking. The videos have, I think, helped that. And it's helped kind of like condense my thoughts without taking the ums and the
Mhm.
So it's overall just helped with speaking and trying to relay a message, I think, in general.
That's awesome. And I know your background, you played football,
Mhm.
right? You played
Yeah.
college football. I mean, it's funny that you say you get nervous in front of a camera because you've played in stadiums with like 30,
Dude,
40,000
that
people.
stuff's totally different.
How is that different? You know, like you know, you went to Cal, right? You played in Cal.
Yeah.
So there's a massive stadium and you're playing one of your rivals. I mean, the stands are packed. There's people yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
But then, you know, when you go to like, when you do something like this, oh, I don't, you know, what am I doing?
Well,
How do you?
I think it more so has to do with like the eyes on you. Like say you get up and speak in front of a bunch of people, like especially if it's only like 10 or 15 and you don't know them, you know, their eyes are on you. You're looking in their eyes. You're seeing their reaction. You're seeing everything. You know, if you're in playing, you know, professional football, high school, whatever, right? Say there's 200,000 people in the stands. 1, you're on the field with about 11 other people. And 2, you're not having to speak. So, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's different because you're not making eye contact with those people. They're so far away from you.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe you put me in middle of a stadium with a microphone. I wouldn't be as nervous because the people are so far away. Who knows? But
I just realized your mic's on too. I just noticed that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter. It just kind of looks
Forgot
kind of
about
weird
that.
that your mic's on. Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah. I'll take it off.
Yeah. But that's, you know, just talking to, you know, athletes. I mean, you're still an athlete. Like I'm not going to
Try
call
to
you.
be.
I'm not going to call you a former athlete
Yeah.
because you're more athletic than I ever got. I got to high school level basketball, but that's as far as I got.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to play in college, and that's pretty amazing. And a lot of college student athletes end up having amazing careers no matter what direction they go. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the work ethic that you had to put in and where you
Oh,
were a
for sure.
full-time student and a full-time athlete at the same time.
Absolutely.
What were those days like for you? What was a day in the life of Nate Broussard in college like for when you were in football mode?
Yeah, I mean, you only spend so many days in season, right? So, most of the time is out of season. So, at a day in a life, you probably wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and get or maybe even earlier than that. Like sometimes you're at the stadium 5:36 for a workout, like at the stadium. You're on the field. You're doing probably an hour to an hour and a half workout, some sort of like intense run, and then straight into a lift. Then after that, you're showering, you're eating, you're getting ready. Depending on when your class schedule is, how many classes you're taking, leaving the stadium immediately, going down to classes, going through that, and depending on the time of the year, you may have to go back to the stadium later on. Like if you're an injured athlete, for example, like you're going to spend a lot of time going back and forth. You'll have to go up, do your rehab. Like I tore a couple ACLs, so I was always back and forth doing sets of rehab. So you'd have that. You may have team meetings. You have like a later on practice, like doing like 7-on-7 or just drills in general. So it's a lot of back and forth and I'll tell you, a lot of walking around. It's funny. Me and my wife always try to hit like the 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Like currently. And I'm like, damn, like Apple Watches weren't a thing when I was in college, which is crazy to think. Like, I'm like, Apple Watches aren't that new, but I guess they just weren't there when I was in school. I don't think I'm that old, but I was like, man, I wonder how many steps I was getting then. I mean, it had to have been
15, 20,000 a day.
I would say at least 20.
Wow.
Because you got to think, you're walking around
just
on
the back
campus.
and forth. Yeah.
Think about walking around on campus and then throw like a running in there too. Like you go on a run, you do say you do a 2-mile run. I mean, that's 5,000 steps right there.
Wow.
You throw around walking on a college campus.
That's a lot of steps.
I mean, you're probably 15, 20,000 is probably accurate. I don't know.
Dang.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of the schedule.
It's a grueling day. I mean, for like 18, 20-year-olds, that's nuts.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like it seems like everything else is a walk in the park, honestly. At least the physical endurance that you're able to maintain for 4 years, because you finished school and everything. So
yeah, I can sometimes I think back and I'm just like trying to go and do that. I'm not old, but I'm like 31, but like trying to even do that now at this age, it's like crazy. And I still got buddies in the league too. I'm like, how are you guys doing that? Like, wow. I guess it's like just once you get out of shape, it's really hard to get back into that shape.
So you just got to stay in it for.
I guess I'm not in it, so it's really hard to get back into it. So
crazy. But how do you think that molded you as a loan officer working in the real estate world, especially in a market as competitive as Dallas Fort Worth? Because we're in an amazing market here, and the winners kind of go up, the losers kind of fade away.
I mean, I think it for any type of sales-based, commission-based job in that sense. It definitely helps a lot because, football, like you go and you only have so many mandatory hours, right? So take the high school and college level. There's only so many hours that they're allowed to actually practice you. NFL is a different thing. You can do as much as you want or as little as you want. But high school and college, they have limitations on that, right? So you can do the things to be, average or normal like everybody else, or the other student athletes or, players. But it's kind of what you do extra after the hours that makes you the better player or the best. And kind of the same thing in sales or real estate, lending, whatever. You can go by and kind of do the motions and get through the activities, but it's what you do extra, like kind of that overtime, whether or not it's putting in extra hours or making extra calls or going to extra networking events. Like those are the things that are going to make you successful. And that's where I see the crossover a lot for any athlete in general, going in the working force.
That's what separates the good from the great.
Absolutely.
Right? And speaking of great, I know a big thing that you talk about is you want to be a great referral partner to realtors.
Yeah.
You want to be that go-to guy that they can know and trust. Why is it that realtors lack good loan officer or good mortgage partners, and why is it so important for them to have those partners in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, I think people in general are all different, right? So you have some realtors that are really, really great at referring their referral partners, and it's awesome. And you can tell that you see it in their business, right? But there are also other agents too who don't have as strong as a referral network that still crush their business. So don't get me wrong. But I think it still is really important to have a good partner, whether or not it's me or, another loan officer in general or insurance or title or whatever, but mainly the loan officer, especially in this market. I say that because buyers can go and get pre-approved at a bank, then go to a credit union, then go to Rocket Mortgage, whatever, then go to online lenders. Those loan officers aren't going to spend as much time with them. It's just conveyor belt, right? Get them pre-approved, give them the letter, say happy house hunting, right? Well, when you take a market like this where interest rates are changing all the time and they're high, it scares a lot of buyers off. So if a realtor is getting a buyer that's going through one of those places, they're not going to get the strategy that they may get with a loan officer like myself or a more local or referral based loan officer. Because what we'll do is we try to take it away from the interest rate, because while the interest rate's important, the monthly payment's more important. So how can you strategize with a realtor as a loan officer, whether or not the buyer is going to get seller credits, whether or not they're going to get the seller to pay down the interest rate so they can meet that monthly payment? You don't get that with the online lenders. So that's one of the most important reasons, in my opinion. Now, the other reasons that you normally hear everyone talk about is, well, one, we guarantee our pre-approvals, things like that. That's all important too. But at the end of the day, if you can't get a buyer into a car or to a house to actually look and start making offers, then they're getting a disservice. So that's why I think it's super important for a realtor to work with a loan officer, or at least have the client talk with their loan officer, right? Because I have realtors I work with that will refer, but they don't push. But then at the same time, which again is okay, but then I have some realtors that will harp and be like, no, you have to at least talk to my lender. And it's great because it makes them the conductor. It gets the buyer to listen to them, and then at least they're talking to us so that they can get a different pitch or a different perspective,
point of view.
Yes,
right.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to know that, that you have realtors in your network that just know that when you send them somebody, you're going to give them information that's going to just get them closer to the finish line.
I can't tell you how many people I have talked to or have gotten pre-approved or talked to a lender or whatever, and they immediately don't buy a home after. It's like, what? So they go back to the realtor and they say, oh, hey, I talked to the lender, rate's too high, I don't want to buy right now. If I was that realtor, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
Because they were interested in buying a home, they talked to a lender, now they're not, right? So my job is, how do I get this buyer excited, even in a maybe not the best market, right? Because interest rates are high. How do I get them excited? How do I make them want to buy in this market and take advantage of it? Because there are ways to take advantage of it. So that's the number one job. That's the number one priority.
Well, it seems like you know your role in the whole process really well. That's awesome. That's good
hey,
to hear.
Doing it for almost 10 years,
wow,
you figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and end there. But
okay.
I really appreciate it. Appreciate the time you sitting down, hanging out, talking for a little bit. Let me ask you some questions about college football, and all that stuff. So.
I know. I was like, we're really getting into the college football stuff here. Cool.
Figured we'd take it somewhere that wasn't related. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Cool.